This chapter begins with a historical perspective on researchers' approaches to leadership and includes definitions of leadership in a section on leadership development. Whether you are reading this chapter because you are taking a required course, have recently accepted a new leadership role in the laboratory, or are already a leader, it is our hope that you will understand your leadership role better after reading this chapter. The chronology and history of leadership research have revealed a variety of central themes. In this lecture, examples are cited of popular leadership theories, paradigms, and principles written by contemporary scholars who have inspired us and influenced our understanding of leadership. A multidisciplinary approach to leadership fosters a shared understanding of similarities and differences in leadership principles and practices across disciplines and cultures. The education and development of a leader requires a broader perspective that emphasizes leadership as both a process and an art to be developed. Please review the various leadership definitions presented in your textbook. Cultural intelligence is a person's ability to function effectively in situations characterized by cultural diversity. John Catter, in his book Leading Change, describes management as a set of processes such as planning, budgeting, organizing, and problem solving that can keep a complicated system of people and technology running smoothly. Leadership defines the future and establishes direction, aligns the people and processes with a vision, and inspires the organization to make it happen. Please read the poem The Leader found on page 65 of your textbook. Power is also a different concept than authority, which is obtained by a manager when she or he takes a position and has the legitimacy to expect compliance from subordinates. An effective leader must be able to convince followers to follow. In other words, a leader must have the capability to influence others to follow his or her advice, suggestion, or directive in pursuing the common goals of the group or organization to which they all belong. The desired resources could be money, materials and space for work, tools and equipment, knowledge and expertise, political networks. Another theory on the sources of power was developed by psychologists French and Raven. In general, the power possessed by a manager is a combination of legitimate power, reward power, coercive power, referent power, and expert power. By taking the manager's position, an individual is given the authority to make demands and requests of subordinates. Please review the different types of power in your textbook on pages 66 and 67. Newly promoted managers should be willing and feel comfortable to give orders or make demands. Managers should constantly absorb new knowledge and develop their skills in the technical areas related to their work. Managers should consciously cultivate friendly interpersonal relations with subordinates, peers, bosses, and outsiders to gain the referent power within organizations. Managers should use every opportunity on the job to gain control of resources that are desirable to their employees. During the 20th century, there has been a significant transformation in the approaches to leadership. In the first half of the century, the trait approach to leadership produced varying lists of personal traits that suggested guaranteed successful leadership. The major problem of this approach is its assumption that there was a definite set of characteristics that made a leader and that leadership cannot be learned. This led to the behavioral approach to leadership, which indicated that leadership can be learned through education, training, life, and work experience. However, the behavioral approach did not address the issue of how a manager should select the most effective leadership style in a specific situation. The next emerging approach was the situational contingency approach, which focused on the importance of the context of the situation in explaining what leadership style would be needed. The trait, behavioral, and contingency approaches have traditionally been the foundation of most of leadership theories. However, other approaches to leadership have also been suggested, including the more contemporary reciprocal approach that leadership is a relational and shared process that includes a strong emphasis on followership. In trait approach, successful leadership is dependent upon personal traits such as height, charisma, intelligence, and others. This is focused on addressing the question what a leader is or who become leaders. The behavioral approach focuses on what a leader does instead of what a leader is. Leadership can be learned through education, training, life, work, experience, and others. The context of the situation determines the leadership style used. The central point of the contingency approach is that the leadership style needed would change with the situation. For the reciprocal approach, leadership is a relational and shared process that includes a strong emphasis on followership. Various approaches in applied leadership are combined in the full-range leadership theory proposed by Avoliu and Bass. Transformational leadership is how a vision can be realized through leadership by the ability to influence, motivate, and enable others for the success of the organization. Transactional leadership focuses on follower goal and role clarification and how leaders reward followers, which is based on contingent rewards and management by exception. Laissez-faire leadership is both non-transformational and non-transactional leadership in which the leaders avoid involvement and have very limited application. Goldman in his studies identified 6 leadership styles listed in this slide. Goldman concluded that a successful leader has to have several styles to meet the demands of leadership. Please review these styles in Table 3 to 6 on page 82 of your textbook. Goldman also identified the 4 emotional intelligence competency domains of a successful leader listed in this slide. Goldman also reported that emotional intelligence can be learned, thus improving leadership performance. This style is best used in a crisis to start a turnaround. This style is best used when changes require a new vision or when a clear direction is needed. This style is best used to heal rips in a team or to motivate people during stressful circumstances. This style is best used to build buy-in or consensus or to get input from valuable individuals. This style is best used to get quick results from a highly motivated and competent team. This style is best used to help individuals improve performance or develop long-term strengths. Among the studies is the Kersey temperament theory. David Kersey proposed a modified model of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator Questionnaire for identifying actions and attitudes associated with 16 personality types. Kersey's questionnaires, called the Kersey Temperament Sorter 2, are self-scoring questionnaires designed to identify 16 combinations of 4 temperament types. Following the Myers-Briggs model, Kersey elected to label each of the temperament types with a combination of letters to describe elements of personality traits represented in the 4 basic types. There are 16 personality types within the 4 temperament types proposed by Kersey, who suggests that temperament is an integral part of a person's character and personality that drives one's behavior. Kersey suggested that certain kinds of temperament are needed for certain circumstances in order to make a leader an effective one. A personality is a complex unit of traits. The letters suggest a stronger or weaker tendency in a person's overall makeup. Please review tables 3-2 and 3-3 in your textbook on page 72. It will be interesting to know what temperament type you are after taking the Kersey Temperament Sorter 2 online. Most laboratorians have profiled as a guardian. We recognize the fact that people of different personalities all have the potentials to become effective leaders. It is also suggested that there are certain attributes commonly shared by effective leaders. Take a moment to visualize the leaders in your organization who you admire and trust. What are the reasons you would work harder for them rather than someone else? Informal survey data suggest that communication is the number one problem in the workplace and in interpersonal relationships. The results of a national survey of laboratory directors by the American Society for Clinical Pathology ranked effective communication skills on top of the list of preferred skills for potential employees. Although the concept of leadership remains debatable and elusive, there is consensus among researchers that leadership is crucial to the success of an organization. Leadership can be learned. The learning process starts from first understanding various styles of leadership and identifying what effective leaders do. These styles are different from competencies or responsibilities of leaders. Styles are concerned with the observed manner of the leader's behavior and actions. Until today, much of the research done in the area of leadership styles focused on some combination of high or low production and high or low concern for people. Blake Mouton's managerial greed. In the Blake Mouton managerial greed, 5 different types of leadership based on concern for production or task and concern for people or relationship are positioned in 4 quadrants. In the grid, concern for production is illustrated on the horizontal axis and concern for people on the vertical axis. The strength of a concern is rated on a scale from 1 to 9, with a 9 to 1, which is the task, indicating the maximum commitment to working objectives with little to no concern given to people's feelings. A 1 is to 9, or the country club, suggests a preoccupation with relationships and satisfying the needs of others at the expense of the task that needs to be done. A 1 is to 1, or the impoverished, would be characteristic of a low-profile manager who exerts minimal effort to get the job done and has minimal contact with others. The 5 is to 5, or the middle road managers, tend to maintain a satisfactory balance between the need to get the work done and the morale of the people doing the work. Derived from the task-oriented and people-oriented model, the Lorenzi and Relay model proposed the following styles of leadership behaviors: on-the-job retirees, whip crackers, the smoozers, and the team builders. On-the-job retirees are low on task skills, low on interpersonal relationships, and are usually procrastinators. The whip crackers are usually very task-oriented, low on interpersonal skills, and see the task to be done as their primary responsibility no matter what the cost. The schmoozers, taken from the Yiddish word for one who chats and idly gossips, rank low on task and high in interpersonal relationships. They can be enthusiastic about a project but have a problem getting their group to get the job done. The last category, team builders, ranks high in both task and interpersonal skills. They empower their staff and they know what questions to ask and when to offer support. Another model on leadership styles is the theory X, Y, and Z. This model is somewhat different and more classic than the 2 other models previously described. Most people have a leadership style that they prefer and feel comfortable with. What you must realize is that different leadership behaviors may be required for different situations in order to get the job done. Therefore, successful and effective leaders have the ability to adapt their style to fit the requirements of the situation. Table 3-5 lists conventional leadership styles, associated behaviors, and in what situation each style is effective and ineffective. The next 3 slides consist of just a few examples of successful leadership development programs for those who wish to further explore leadership potential and or enhance a current leadership role. The University of California, Davis offers a course entitled The Leadership Learning Laboratory. This introductory course is designed to explore one's organizational culture and leadership needs, discuss challenges of leading and opportunities for leadership, and identify specific leadership competencies through self-knowledge and awareness. Georgetown University offers a certificate program for project leaders, mid-level managers, directors, and executives leading organizational changes. The program includes personal assessment of leadership skills, strategies, and tools for implementing change and development of leadership capabilities. The Chartered Management Institute of the United Kingdom offers leadership programs including Creating Inspirational Leaders, 3 2-day intensive programs, Strategic Leader, Operational Leader, and Tactical Leader, and a more in-depth 12-month program. This lecture has presented the principles and theories of leadership in Chapter 3. Leadership involves the ability to create and communicate a vision that acts as an invisible guide to build a rich diversity of relationships that energize teams and to share information to nurture change.